Good afternoon and welcome to the Uncreative Crafter. Today is Sunday, November 22nd, 2015, and this is episode 21. My name is Jen and I am your host. You can find me around the web as Stormcoast, one word. I am on Twitter, Ravelry, Instagram, Periscope, which I need to do more with, and yeah, it's been a little while since I recorded an episode, so this is probably going to be a long one. You are probably also wondering why I'm dressed like this. That's a good question. I decided to podcast in my Halloween costume, even though it's now 3 weeks after Halloween, just because I liked my Halloween costume that much. If you have no idea who I am, I'm not generic nerdy girl. I am actually Osgood from Doctor Who. So hopefully I did an okay job. Got my hair cut, so the little pieces aren't staying in the ponytail very well, but that's okay. And I moved the bow tie over a little bit because I didn't want the microphone rubbing on it. So we'll see how all this goes. I may lose the lab coat or the bow tie or both. I'm not really sure. But not bad for a thrift store shirt find, I think. Not perfect, but, for $4 it totally worked. So, now that you know that I'm a nerd, like for real, I'm sure you didn't know that before, welcome. I have not done a real episode in almost a month. I did put up a video a few weeks ago. I had done a Periscope supported spinning demo, and I had saved the Periscope video and put it up as just a little demo on YouTube. I heard from a lot of people that they actually found it quite interesting and helpful, which is really cool. I, however, was really disappointed with the quality of the video. It looked fine on my iPad, and it did not look very good on YouTube. And it doesn't help that it's in up and down mode, which I can never remember that's vertical. Yes. So the video was approximately this big, and so I would like to redo it a little bit better on my iPad, so it'll only be out to about here, because as you've probably figured out, I've got these lovely black bars on the side of the screen. But actually, now that I'm talking about that, can you just wait there for 1 second? Okay, you hang on, don't go anywhere. Okay, hopefully I have wibblied and wobblied and timey-wimeyed, and now, hopefully, I'm full screen. And you may notice a change in the video quality also. You better notice a change in the video quality also. I got my Christmas present early, and my Christmas present was the new iPad Pro. So I'm pretty excited about this because I am a iPad-only YouTuber. So I film, edit, and upload strictly on my iPad because I have a PC, and so I don't even know if you can make that work from your iPad. So I just do it all on the iPad. My old iPad is from 2012, so it's not old, but they've had several new versions of the iPad since then. And so for me, this is a huge jump up in video quality and just ability, and I'm very excited to hopefully make the podcasting process a lot easier, because I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy to do it right now as it is. But anyway, I might have to start wearing real makeup. I put on some eye stuff and some lip stuff because I didn't want to look too washed out, but maybe foundation, I don't know. Anyway, I'm overthinking it. Let's get on into the stuff that you guys are actually interested in, right? If you are new to this podcast, and I have a feeling a lot of you are, this is primarily a knitting, spinning, crochet, fibery, etc. podcast. Let's move right on into the things that I am working on. And I'm sorry for the thumps in the background. If you're new, I also have a kitten named Ozzy who is just extremely naughty and just woke up from a nap. So this is going to be fun. We'll see. All right. So the first thing that I've been working on is my scrap blanket. This is a free Ravelry download called Knitted Patchwork Recipe by Martine Ellis. I am following the pattern, so I am doing the 32 stitches I am doing these on size 0 needles, which I believe are 2 millimeter, and you haven't seen this in, I think, over a month. So in the interests of time, I am not going to tell you all of the yarns that are in all of my new squares because it would be extremely time consuming. Needless to say, I have finished my minis from Iggy Star, who was my first mini swap partner, and I have finished my Mandy minis, Mandy Pinecone, who sent me minis. Most of Mandy's minis, try saying that one 10 times fast. Most of Mandy's minis were cuppy cake yarns, with one exception, which I believe was a No Makers. And so now I'm on to my Jessica, who is Sarah Nova of the Sarah Nova Crafts video podcast, which you can find on YouTube. So I'm working on her minis right now. So let us show you the blanket. And I brilliantly decided that I was going to put stitch markers on the new squares rather than try and show you exactly where I left off. So anything that has a stitch marker on it is new since the last time you've seen it. And I think I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a dozen. I probably should have counted better. So most of the minis over here and over here are cuppy cake. This is my Jessica row. This is my Noro that I was working with. And so I am pretty pleased with it. I've been trying to weave in the ends as I go. I can't actually see. I know I'm covering my face, but I can't see how this looks on the screen. So hopefully this looks pretty good. And we will talk about another aspect of the blanket in a few minutes. So I'm glad to be making progress on that. I did have another yarn that I was using to start a new row with, and I ran out of yarn. And so I ripped it out because reasons. I'm kind of a perfectionist, but whatever. So we'll move on to the next thing that I'm working on. And so I am working on a ruffle scarf. You guys remember those ruffle yarns that were popular about 4 years ago? Well, I'm finally getting on the trend because I found one for $1.97 on sale at Joann's, and I had a skein in my stash, and I am participating in Jeanette, who is the Bookish Stitcher, and she also has a video podcast on YouTube. She's doing a sparkle cal, so anything that's got sparkle in it is eligible to win a prize, and this stuff has sparkle in it, so let's grab it. It's kind of a disaster, just because this yarn is very loosey-goosey. So it is Red Heart Boutique Sachet in the color 1934 Roomba, or Rumba, I guess. I say Roomba like the vacuum, but I think it's a Rumba like the dance. Maybe it's not pronounced Rumba. Moving on. Anyway, so I have gotten, and they call these 4-hour scarves because they knit up so quickly. I'm sure it is a 4-hour scarf for some people. Okay, good, it is still on the cord. I have to take my time with this. Wow, this is just a big mess. But anyway, you can see it's sort of starting to ruffle. I am doing the knitted, I didn't even have that much caffeine today. The knitted version, which has you cast on 6 stitches. And then I am skipping a little hole. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because if you've never worked with a ruffle yarn, you've got no clue. So it looks like this in the ball, but actually what you do is you actually spread it out. So can you see the sparkle on the bottom there? So you've actually working in these little like railroady track thingy-mabobbers up top. There you go, like right here where my finger is. And so I am skipping a little railroady track thing to make it more ruffly, because I guess if you do every railroad track, it's more spirally, and I like the look of the ruffle better. Do I have a purpose for this scarf? No. Am I likely to wear this scarf? Probably not, but for $2, I figured it was fun and it would be worth trying. So, you know, I'm going to finish it, enter it into the Sparkle Cal, and then maybe post it on Facebook and see if anybody will recover, you know, the cost of my yarn, maybe a couple bucks for shipping, and I'll send it off to some little girl or boy somewhere who would love to wear a ruffle scarf. I don't know. The other couple of things that I'm working on are I am working on a slouchy hat for a friend of mine. She's one of my coworkers, and I brought in my worm hat that I had made out of my hand spun. And I don't love how that looked on me, so I ended up giving it to my mom. I haven't asked her how she likes it. I gotta go back and ask her. But anyway, she liked how it looked, but she is wool sensitive, so she can't wear wool. And otherwise I'd totally given it to her. So she asked if I would make her a slouchy hat, and normally I would not do this. Normally I'm incredibly picky. I don't just say yes to people. Like, if I want to make you something, that's one thing. If you ask me to make you something, chances are good I'm going to say no. But she did ask me to do it in a super bulky yarn, and she liked the worm pattern, which is incredibly easy and very adaptable for other yarns. So I'm like, yeah, buy me the yarn and buy me lunch, and sure, I'll make it for you. And the only reason that I'm not done with it by now is that I don't know, I couldn't brain it for a little while, and I just finally cast on a bunch of stitches, tried it on her head, and I'll put in a lifeline, and I can always rip it back and redo the ribbing if I need to. But anyway, and I really hope that the microphone is not rubbing against things. I can't hear it when it does, and I have to be better about knowing when the microphone is rubbing, so I'm really sorry if it is, because I know that makes a terrible, annoying sound. And just, all these big yarns are just terrible. Like, look at how messy this is. But anyway, this is Lion Brand Hometown USA in the color 208, or Phoenix Azalea. And it is a super bulky yarn. And I have done the ribbing of the hat so far. I'm making it a little bit longer than I might normally make ribbing for the worm hat. I am altering, if you've done the worm pattern before, basically I'm altering the whole thing to work with bulky yarn. I'm knitting the brim a bit longer than it calls for in the original pattern because I've adapted it to just a 1x1 rib. If you've made the pattern, you know what I'm talking about for the brim, my preference. And this is a lot of fun because I am a very loose knitter. So I usually don't get to work on big needles. These are actually being worked on size 11s, which are 8mm needles, which for me, these are like broomsticks. This is kind of an amazing thing to get to do, which is a lot of fun. But anyway, so that is sort of something I'm working on slowly, but we'll get there. Another thing that I've been working on just a little bit, because the sting and the pain of having to rip back on them has finally decreased a little bit, are my Agatha socks. This is the Agatha sock pattern by Claire of the New Hampshire Knits audio podcast, which you can find on iTunes. And I was participating in her Agatha knit along and then had issues. Okay, where were we? So my Agatha socks, which if you've watched the podcast before, you've probably seen them, and I was working on the Agatha knit along, and then I misjudged something in the pattern, tried to rip back to a lifeline, had an issue picking up the stitches from the lifeline, and just decided to rip the whole thing out, back to the cuff. So I haven't made a ton of progress, but I have made a little bit, so reaching. Here we go. So I have done not quite a full repeat of the pattern. Ugh, these needles are just all super twisty today. It's because it's caught in the yarn. There we go. Nope, just super twisty. So it's going to be tough to see. Hopefully the video quality with this iPad is a little bit better. You can sort of see the pattern starting to emerge. This is also difficult because it's a natural or cream colored yarn. The yarn is Red Heart, Heart and Soul in the ivory colorway. I'm not super pleased with how it frogged. It seems really limp now that it's been frogged. I'm hoping washing it will bring it back to its old awesomeness, but I guess we will see. So, and then two other things that I've been working on, but I'm not going to show you because honestly they are not going to look any different to you. I had spinning group the first weekend in November. Hi Ozzy. Hopefully she will sleep and not be naughty and climb on the desk. So I did a little bit of wheel spinning, which was nice to get back into the habit since I hadn't done that in a few months. And then I also, because you saw me do the supported spinning demo, maybe you know that I've done a little bit of supported spinning. But again, these don't look any different, and so I'm honestly not going to pull them out to show you. So those are all of the things that I've been working on. I do have just 2 finished objects. Thought I had more than that, but whatever. So the first thing that I finished is something that you've actually not even seen, because I started and finished this after the last time that I really recorded. And I did the Honey Cowl, which is a free pattern on Ravelry by Antonia Shankland. And I did the smaller version, the version that just is close to your neck as opposed to the one that loops around your neck a couple of times. And I also did this for the Bookish Stitchers Sparkle Cowl, and this was out of some of my hand spun, which was Inglenook Fibers, and I think she's got an Etsy shop, so hopefully I will link that here. And I am giving it to my friend Angie because the colors aren't really me, but it's nice to have it finished. It's actually sitting on my bed, blocking, because I washed it because I'm going to hopefully see her on Tuesday, but I should insert a picture here. And so you can see my honey cowl. So that is one of the 2 things that I've finished. The other thing that I finished, and it finally took me this long. I wish I had had them finished for Halloween, but I finished what I've been calling my dock socks, which are my Felici, Knit Picks Felici in the Time Traveler colorway socks, which are just sort of a generic toe up. I know the stitch count that I like, put in an afterthought heel socks. So let's grab those. There we are. And I don't have sock blockers, so they don't look too awesomely amazing, but I love them. I gotta wash them so I can wear them. And just finally pleased to have them finished. I think the last time you saw them I only had one, so finally got on it and finished them, which was good. So yay, finished. So let's talk about some stash, and I'm gonna have to stop the video and go grab some things, so bear with me. Okay, and I'm back with what is hopefully a fairly seamless editing, except for the fact that I totally changed clothes. I have a feeling that the microphone's probably rubbing, if not on the bow tie, then on the turtleneck, and if you are still here, then you're really awesome, and I appreciate that, and I will try not to wear shirts like that again. So I always forget because I cannot hear it when I'm recording, so I'm so sorry about that if that is the case. If that's not the case, then I changed for no good reason. But whatever, moving right along, stash. There is actually a decent amount of stash to talk about today. Heat just kicked on, which is good because I changed into short sleeve shirt. So the first thing that I have stashed is my Stitched Together 4G bag. This is from my friend Amanda, who is the host of the Stitching You and More video podcast, which you can find on YouTube. Amanda is a pal of mine, and I knew that I was in the market for a larger size bag than most of what I have already. And here comes Ozzy. So this is a disaster waiting to happen. Come here. Hey. Alright. Oh my god, you'd think I was murdering you. Fine, whatever. Okay, Stitched Together 4G bag. Editing out cat climbing all over knitting and desk. Right there, hopefully. So I knew I was in the market for a larger bag than what I have. A lot of my bags are small. They hold socks and small projects. And we'll talk about what's in the bag in a little bit. But anyway, you want to see the bag, so don't go anywhere. It's humongous. Like, it doesn't quite fit me because I tried it on, because I'm silly like that. But, yeah, humongous bag of awesome. It is her basically sweater size bag. I've forgotten the name of the style, but I will link her Etsy shop, and you'll see she's got 3 different size options, and she describes the size options on her website better than I do. But anyway, it's really neat. I've tucked the paracord into the bag so the cat won't eat it, but it does come with paracord drawstrings, which makes it nice and smooth. And it is obnoxiously, wonderfully bright. It's covered in puzzle pieces. And she's calling it her autism awareness print. I know that she's got nothing going to autism research right now, but I know she is planning to, I think, in 2016. Don't remember when exactly, but I liked it because it was rainbow, but also my husband and I both have family members who are on the autism spectrum. So, does not hurt to have cool puzzle piece bags. So, thank you, Amanda. I love it. And you will see what's in it in a little bit. So, next thing, randomly out of the blue, Rachel of the Love Knots podcast, and she's also Love Knots on Etsy. I'd been talking with a few people about cool things, and sometimes you send a link and you're like, look at this pretty thing. And she sent me one of the things that I had linked. I was not expecting it at all. People were very sneaky, and Ozzy, please do not climb up those curtains. Please, you look like you're gonna jump. Okay, I really should have recorded when she was sleeping, but whatever. So anyway, Rachel sent me a spinning bat from Abby's Angora Art, which is another shop on Etsy. And hopefully the lighting is a little iffy. It's, we've had daylight savings time, and also it's just sort of a rainy day today, but hopefully you can kind of, yeah, all right. So it's very actually multifaceted. It's not just black and teal. It's got sort of these bluey bits and more green bits. And it's just this big fluffy bat of awesome, basically. I'm super excited to spin it. It is, let's see, crinkle, sorry, from Abby's Angora Art. It's merino bamboo in the colorway teal time. And normally, I don't love spinning bamboo. I'm sorry, merino. But since I do know how to spin from the fold now, I'm very interested, and that's definitely how I'm going to try spinning this bat. So, but I really got to get back on the spinning thing because I am acquiring faster than I am spinning it up, that's for sure. So, yikes. All right, next thing that I have acquired actually has to do with my scrappy blanket. Let me find, everything's just buried over here. Kind of clean my desk because more widescreeny. Maybe you can't see my desk at all. Maybe that's awesome. So in my Mandy Pinecone DPN holder, finally have DPNs that actually fit in this. I keep forgetting that I tend to buy really long DPNs, and I finally bought the 6-inch DPNs. I bought, and granted this is only 2 of them, but I bought some of the carbons needles. So these are size 0 or US size 0, 2 millimeter. And so they are carbon fiber for the main body, and then I forget, maybe nickel on the tips. I don't remember. But anyway, carbon fiber is flexible. You can kind of see I'm flexing it a little bit, but very difficult to break. The thing with the carbon needles, though, is I got them because my metal needles had actually bent a little bit. I don't know if it was in the project bag or just while I was doing stuff, knitting with them, but one of them had bent, and I'm like, I am going to go spoil myself and buy some carbons. I actually have a pair of carbons, or a set of double points in size 2 or 3, but I don't tend to do projects on those sizes. So even though I bought those probably a year ago, I've used these first. They took a little bit of getting used to. Just there's a little bit of a join here, a little bit of a bump, barely noticeable. In the beginning it was noticed because I'm pulling my stitches back, like I'm pushing them down on the needle and then I'm sort of pulling them back to finish the stitch, if that makes any sense. But whatever. I feel like my gauge may have changed a little bit. I feel like I may be knitting more loosely with these, which is kind of not good because I'm already a pretty loose knitter. And I usually have to go down 2, if not 3 needle sizes to complete a project. And if I'm working with carbons and I have to go down like 4 or 5, granted they do make carbons up to size quintuple 0, which they're basically like toothpicks. But I really don't want to be knitting a sock blanket or a sock on size quintuple 0s. That's for people who make like doll clothes. They're beautiful, but they're just not for me. But anyway, I have been enjoying my carbons and I haven't broken them yet, so knock on wood, but I don't think I'd be able to. Maybe if I ran over them with a car. There probably is a way to break these, just like you can break an Nalgene, but I'm not going to make a concerted effort. Though I will admit in the beginning I was maybe kind of trying to see if I could bend them because, challenge. But whatever. Anyway, I also do have a couple of patterns that are new to me. I finally went ahead and bought the Fish Lips Kiss Heel pattern, which is a $1 US Ravelry download. Probably you've heard of the Fish Lips Kiss Heel before. It is a heel method for when you're knitting socks. I have really only done heel flap and gusset, afterthought heels, and short row heels. So I thought for $1, it's worth trying. I haven't had a chance to pull it out yet and do anything with it, but a lot of my friends swear by it, so I am interested to give it a shot, absolutely. I haven't read through it. It's a little bit intimidating. There's a part where you cut out a cardboard cutout of your foot, but I haven't done that yet, so we'll do it eventually. Another thing that I got was Andrea, who is the cat lady of the Cat Lady podcast, which is a video podcast available on YouTube. CATT for Craft All the Things. Very kindly gifted me the Hitchhiker shawl pattern, which is a €3.4 Ravelry download. It's approximately $3.72 in American dollars right now. And she had been asking me for pattern suggestions for a yarn that she had that she wanted to knit something up out of, and I made a suggestion. And I'd actually bought the same yarn. I don't have it yet, so I don't want to talk about it too much. But I did make a purchase from Rachel of Love Knots. And so hopefully that will be her for the next time that I podcast in Stash. And I suggested Hitchhiker, which is by Martina B, who designed the Hitchhiker shawl. So we will be doing a Hitchhiker along. She was very sweet and kindly gifted me the pattern, so now I'm just waiting on my yarn. And then the last thing that I did a little bit of traveling yesterday with my husband, and we'll talk about that in the last segment. But we went to a local yarn store in Massachusetts called Circle of Stitches, and actually one of my online friends is friends with the owners, and she highly suggested it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll absolutely go in and check it out. Beautiful shop, clean, well lit, just beautiful arrangement of yarn. And the woman who owns it, while she was not there that day, is also a dyer, so she was off in the dye studio essentially. And her name is Anna, and she owns Circle of Stitches, which is the actual physical store, but she is also the owner of Toil and Trouble, which is her specific hand-dyed. And you can find her on Etsy, but I will also put up a link to her shop page as well. And so when in a local yarn store, if you can have locally dyed yarn, you buy it, right? And so I bought her Sonnet base, which is 100% superwash merino. It's 400 yards, 100 grams in fingering weight. And the colorway is Uzume, which I believe is a Japanese goddess. I looked it up last night, but I got home kind of late. So anyway, I will show you. Here is her tag, Toil and Trouble. And there is the information on the back. And it's being super blown out. But anyway, Uzume is this beautiful, and actually that is relatively true to color, and so I'm so happy about that. I love this new iPad. This is awesome. So we've got this pale pink, very cherry blossom pink to me, this nice purple, and then this little pop of sort of a pinky orange coral almost. And so these are going to go into my brown bag sock knit along clubby thing, which is just me. It's not really a club. I put my skeins of sock yarn into brown bags and make my husband pick one for me. So it's kind of like getting club yarn, but it's a surprise because it's from your stash, but you don't know what you're getting. So anyway, I'm very excited to get this squishy and pretty. So we have just been rambling right on, haven't we? But there's a little bit more to talk about, so bear with me. I'm also trying out a new way of doing show notes. I downloaded Evernote, so trying to sort of get things all together. Now, I need to rename this next segment because I had it as You Go Guys, which was kind of a way for me to say, hey, awesome people who are awesome, here's me shouting out to you. But it's also sort of just become a way for me to talk about things that I'm interested in that other people do. So I don't know what I'm going to call it in the future, but it's probably going to stop being You Go Guys, but in a similar vein. So you may also have found my podcast because of Sarah, the Canadian knitter, and Winter Camp 2016. I'm going to have a separate Winter Camp 2016 video. It's going to be much shorter than this, where I'm going to give you more details. I'm going to talk a little bit about me. Well, I mean, like an intro to me if you don't know me or you don't watch me. What I'm looking to accomplish during winter camp, the kinds of things that, you know, I like to encourage in people. They're not going to be like requirements for being on my team or anything, but yeah, I'm going to be a cabin leader. I don't know if I mentioned that. So we're going to have a number of different cabins, and it's going to last for 3 months from January 1st to the end of March. And it's basically going to be a points-based system, and you there's a whole video on it that Sarah did this morning that I will link, and then I will also do a little video. You won't know if you have been assigned to my cabin until December. We are going to do it randomly. You cannot ask to be in my cabin. Well, you can ask to be in my cabin, but we're going to do it randomly anyway. So don't worry about it. I'm pretty cool, I like to think, says the girl who was dressed up as a character from Doctor Who 10 minutes ago. But whatever. So winter camp. And so actually my winter camp project is in the Stitch Together 4G bag. I'll give you a little preview. I was going to start this sooner than January, but maybe I'm just going to wait now until winter camp, because I'm going to start a sweater. So this is some Reynolds whiskey. It is a discontinued yarn. Hopefully you can sort of see the subtle color differences in this yarn. I swatched for this like a gajillion years ago. I'm not going to take the yarn out because it's in plastic bags inside here. But I have like 13 skeins of this. I have the Josephine sweater pattern that was gifted to me by Mandy Pinecone when my grandfather died. And so while I am not eligible for prizes, we have decided that all of the cabin leaders are going to compete against each other in an effort to get points for you guys. So anyway, again, I will link to Sarah's informational video, and then you'll also have a short video to learn more about me if I'm going to be your cabin leader. So I look forward to getting that up at some point in the near future. Anyway, so where are we at here? Okay, great. I do have a couple of new to me podcasts that I'd like to talk about. I work in an office, and I love watching video podcasts. I love video podcasting because it's such a visual medium. But at work, I'm not really allowed to watch video podcasts unless I'm on break or on lunch. So I listen to a lot of audio podcasts. And so I've started listening to a couple that are new to me, even though they are not new podcasts. So I thought I would mention them to you guys in case you haven't heard them, or you haven't listened to them yet. The first one is Down Cellar Studios, and her name is Jennifer, and she is running the Pigskin Party Knit Along, which I am not a part of, but I know a lot of people are. It's football themed. Apparently it's a big thing. But anyway, I have just started listening to her recently, and I've really been enjoying her. She does a lot of knitting, but she also crochets, which is nice to hear people talk about other things that they've been doing. And so I just started listening to her, and you should give her a try if you have not yet done so already. The other one that I started listening to recently, and I'm not embarrassed by this, but I guess it's a little, it's not weird. But with audio podcasts, if they don't have like too many, or if they're not super long, I will sometimes download them from the very beginning, just because it's easy enough, especially with shorter podcasts, to just listen to a bunch in one day. And so I have actually started listening to this one from the beginning, even though she's on like episode 99. And this is Sarah of the Yarns at Yin Hu audio podcast. And I forgot to mention you can find both of these podcasts on iTunes, which is how I listen to them. And Sarah, I have been following on Instagram for a long time, and have only just started listening to her, and I'm a little embarrassed by that. I don't know why I waited so long, but I've really been enjoying her podcast. It's very well put together. She obviously puts a lot of thought into it, unlike some podcasters, namely me. And she does a lot of research, and she's been talking about a lot of interesting things. Like, I don't cook. She's doing, she might still be doing it, I'm not sure, probably not, where she had different ingredients for every month, and, they did like sort of a cook-along. And so I've been finding interesting things out, even though I don't cook. I can tell my husband about them, and maybe he could go cook them. I don't know. But anyway, there's a little bit more stuff to talk about. And I did not even include some of those things, so bear with me. I have 200 YouTube subscribers. Actually, I have more than 200 YouTube subscribers, but I haven't recorded in a while. Also, I have no idea what happened. Like, usually there's a sense of me knowing, like, someone bigger has mentioned me, but a bunch of you joined around, like, November 17th, and I have no idea why. And so I would love it if someone told me how you found me. Like, am I just like a recommended video in the sidebar on YouTube? Or is there a podcast out there that I don't listen to or watch that mentioned me? Like, how did you find out about me? Please let me know, especially if you joined or subscribed around November 17th. That would be really cool. But to thank you guys, I will be doing a pattern giveaway. I have a pattern from Jennifer of Contented Butterfly Farm in Windsor, Vermont. She is a lovely, lovely lady, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to meet her a couple of times in person, and she has released a pattern on Ravelry called the Brecken Wick Cowl. It is a $4 US Ravelry download. It takes 160 yards of DK weight yarn, and basically what she has done is she has combined two different stitch patterns into this cowl. And it's pretty, it's not complicated, but the two different patterns add some really neat visual interest. And so she very kindly gifted me a pattern so I could knit it myself. I need to go to the yarn store and find some DK weight yarn so I can do that. But she also is letting me give away a copy. So I would like to give away a copy as a thank you for my 200 YouTube subscribers. This will be a Ravelry giveaway, so you do need to be a member of Ravelry to enter. You'll want to go to the Uncreative Crafter Podcast Fans Ravelry group. Please be a member of the group, and I will be putting up a thread, and it's going to be one entry per person, no chatter. And basically, the prompt that I have for you guys is if you were to design a pattern, and it doesn't have to be knitting, it could be crochet. So post in that thread, tell me what two stitches you would combine in a pattern, and I will draw for that. I'll give you like 2 weeks. So I'll put a note in the thread, and I'll put a little note on the bottom here when I figure out when I'm going to close it, and I will draw for the winner and get that pattern gifted to you ASAP. So I'm very excited about that, and thank you again, Jennifer, for being so kind as to donate that as a pattern prize. Actually, speaking of donating patterns as prizes, my 1-year podiversary is coming up fairly soon. I actually started doing the video podcast on January 3rd of 2015, and so in a little over a month I will have been doing this for a year, which is kind of crazy. I'm very introverted. I really felt like I was jumping into something without knowing too much about it, and I'm not going to pretend like it's always been easy, but I do enjoy it, and I do plan to keep going, because I've made such wonderful friends and connections with people doing this, and also I just got a new iPad, so I kind of have to keep podcasting, right? So I've had a few people already. I was sort of a brat, and I went on Instagram, and I was just kind of like, hey, I don't do this ever, but I am looking for prize donations for my podiversary. I'd like to make it kind of a big deal. And so I have a few people already who have been super wonderful and are donating some prizes. Got a couple of bag prizes that are going to be donated, and oh, was there something else? I don't remember. I got to write that down. I've got it all in Ravelry and Instagram and stuff. But anyway, point being, I would still love more prize donations. I am not the kind of person that will go to someone and be like, can I have a prize donation, please? That's just not my personality. There's nothing wrong with that. More power to you, because I feel like that usually works. But I'm very much the kind of person who is like, hey, if you're interested, if you could like donate a prize, that'd be awesome. But I would really love to be able to have a bunch of things to give away as a thank you for making the first year of this journey amazing, really. And I know I'm getting sappy now, so we'll move on. So this could be a physical prize donation. You can go stash diving, or if you are a hand dyer and you'd like to donate some yarn or fiber, that would be awesome. If it's knitting or craft related, stitch markers or bags, or I'm struggling to think of other things, but you know, if you can make it crafting related, I'd love to include it. Or if you're a pattern designer and you'd like to donate one of your patterns, that would be amazing. Or if you would like to donate a Ravelry credit for a pattern, like say you can have a pattern up to $6 US, I would absolutely totally appreciate that. And also, not necessarily giveaway related, but I'm totally open to coupon codes. So I would love to promote you on my show, and if you have a coupon code, I would love to tell people about it and maybe drum up some business for you as well, because I like supporting you, and maybe you like supporting me too. I don't know. Ozzy, please don't cry. Oh, that was Dorian. He's hungry. He's fat. He'll live. So anyway, point being, I am totally still in the market for prize donations for my 1-year podiversary. So if you are interested, please send me a message on Ravelry. My username is Stormcoast, and we can chat about it, because I've still got about a month to arrange all of that, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer to it. I know I keep saying a little bit more, but I also warned you this was going to be a long episode. I have done a little bit of extra credit. Extra credit is the part where I talk about crafts that are not fiber related. One thing, which really should be like done by now, but it's not, is my yarn bowl, which is just decoupage. I got this little white bowl from, I don't know, Big Lots. It's like a discounty store, and you just got a little bowl. And I have finally fully decoupaged the inside. I got a few more of the catalogs that I need for the yarn balls. And the only thing left on this is just to apply a couple of coats of the decoupage over it to seal it up. But it's done. I've just been lazy. I mean, I'm not going to use it like for food or anything. But, you know, just be like a fun little thing to store things in. So, I'm just happy to finally have the very, very time-consuming placement of yarn balls complete. So that is the first thing. And then here's something which, if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen it. It's taken shape a little bit better since then. But finally started my cross stitch, which is a dimensions kit. And actually, because I'm super organized like that, it is this kitty. And it was like a $3 thing at Michael's, which I bought a few months ago because everybody that I talked to has been cross-stitching. And I finally decided to, because Andrea the cat lady and Sarah the Canadian knitter are doing a combined giveaway called the Cat-along, C-A-T, and this is animal themed, and I'm like, well, I have a cat cross-stitch thing, I might as well work on it so I can enter these things. But anyway, so here's my cross-stitch. Here's the cat. So, you know, I've just got to do a little bit more of the black, and then I've got a little bit of pink, and then the little black accent bits around, and then I will be done. So, you know, it's been sort of a fun-ish, like, I'm not going to pretend the directions that came with this were amazing, because they weren't, but thankfully, everybody that I know sort of helped talk me through it and help me figure out the slightly more complicated things, because I haven't cross-stitched in approximately 20 years. And I feel like I was better at it 20 years ago, but whatever. All right, just a few more things. I promise, and then I'll let you go. We went to Salem, Massachusetts yesterday. It was sort of a spur-of-the-moment thing. We'd been talking about going right after Thanksgiving because we're going to be in Massachusetts visiting family. But we decided to go yesterday. I'm glad we did because it was pretty busy there and it wasn't Black Friday, so I would not have necessarily loved to go on Black Friday. Wish that I had done a little bit more research ahead of time to figure out what to do and where to go. Been having some headache issues that made the first part kind of annoying, but got through it, bought some yarn. We went to one of the many museums, helped support their economy a little bit. Yeah, so that was interesting. I've actually never been. I want to say I was supposed to go to Salem in 7th grade because we were reading The Crucible. And don't ask me what my reason was, but back then I had a reason for not going along with the rest of the class. So I don't know what it was, but now I've finally been. And then, obviously, I got the new iPad. So waiting on a couple of different accessories for it. I need the case, and then my husband also ordered me the Apple Pencil, which I don't really know too much about, but hopefully it will make editing this a little bit easier. We'll see. And then, buried under here somewhere, so I'm actually honestly not even going to go digging for it. I got a card from my friend Tanya, who's in the group of ladies that I chat with on a daily basis. And Tanya is not a podcaster, but she's an awesome lady who sent everybody cards. And she sent me mine, and everybody else had gotten theirs, including Mandy, who's in Vermont, so she's really not that far from me. And I'm like, well, where is this? Like, has this been put in the wrong mailbox because I have a P.O. box, or has it been sent back to you, or like, what's going on? She had a tracking number on it, and it said it had been delivered on Tuesday, and it was Friday, and I'm like, what is going on? This is ridiculous. So I called up the post office, and they were like, oh, we don't know if we just forgot to put like a thing in your box saying you had a little, an envelope that was too big or what. But whatever, so it didn't get lost, which was great. A cute little kitty and dog card with glitter on it. And she sent me a bunch of tea, which I'm very excited to try. So I think that actually will legitimately do it this time. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me. This is going to be a long episode, like I said. It's going to be a weird episode with the editing and the 2 different video splices. It's just long because I don't remember what I'm doing. I really got to get back into the swing of doing this on a bi-weekly basis. So keep your eyes peeled soon for a winter camp little mini video from me. And feel free to check it out and sign up. We would love to have you. I think it's going to be really fun. I never got to go to camp as a kid. Well, no, I mean, I guess I chose not to go to camp. I wasn't really a camp kind of kid. So, like, I am all into this camp thing now that I'm a grown-up. But yeah, anyway, we will let you guys go. I hope you have a good couple of weeks. And remember, it gets done one stitch at a time. Bye.